Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pit Stop with Team Truck Stop Love. My name is Mikey Zero, and below me is my girlfriend, Rochelle.
Hey.
Hi. We are known as Team Truck Stop Love from Season 26 of The Amazing Race, and this here is our podcast, The Pit Stop, every Friday at 10:30, although we're like 15 minutes late tonight. 10:45 Eastern Time.
I don't even know if they can see us right now because we were having internet problems earlier, but
Yeah. Let us know in the chat. We're on. Yeah, we're good. We should be good. I think everything's looking good. I hope.
well, tonight we're going to recap the episodes because we got a week behind with our special guest, Jackie. So tonight we're going to be talking about The King of the Jungle, episode number 5. Do you know tonight's title?
No, I don't take them.
Oh, it wasn't King of the Jungle. It was Lion Encounter. Excuse me.
Yeah, there's two legs that we're going to cover here tonight, last week's leg and this week's leg. We are a part of On the Block podcast, so we encourage everybody to subscribe, and anybody that's watching, join the live chat, ask questions, chat about both these legs tonight. And what we're going to try and do, we don't have a guest tonight.
Friday. Well, actually, we do. I got my Team New Kid special guest tonight. That Haley Ann made me for my birthday party.
How nice. So if you want to, chime in, join in. What we're going to do though is weekly Fridays at 10:30 Eastern Time. We are going to review the episodes, Rochelle and I, a more brief podcast, possibly. And during the weeks, we're going to try and release special interviews with former racers and catch up with people that you would like us to catch up with. So we're going to start out with leg number 5 of The Amazing Race, which was last Friday's episode. And it was the big double U-turn at the pit stop conclusion. So
yeah, the episode pretty much started off. Team Texas decided to give their express pass to the pink team, and their reasoning behind it was the pink teams help them a lot. They see them as not a threat, and the mom was pretty thrilled about it.
Yeah, she's excited about a lot of stuff that's going on. Well, the beginning of this episode, they showed the pit stop, post-pit stop discussions, which we didn't get to do. I don't recall.
Did.
No. Not, but it wasn't for TV. It wasn't for race. That was just where we were at, and they decided to film some of it because whatever. But this is like strategic talk, which we were banned from on our season because they want that to happen on camera. So with all the drama going on with the double U-turn and the express pass to Team Texas, they show Team Texas talking to the reporters after they both checked in on the pit stop. Which I mean, this is the first that I've ever seen of it.
I think we've seen a little bit of it, but not a lot.
And they actually did it in tonight's episode as well.
Mm-hmm.
But so, well, yeah,
ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Recap this. Okay. So first off, Texas, and we see a little bickering between Team Green and Team Texas. The Green team seems pretty like they want to play a good game, and they're not really. Although they seem Team Texas as their biggest competitors, they're definitely still not playing emotional, which I think is pretty awesome. Team Texas starts off the episode talking, crap about the green team, saying that if they get a chance to U-turn, no matter what, it's going to be them.
Yes. And they have a roadblock, rise above, and you spot your next clue in the... What was that little deal they were in when they were on the roadblock? It was like a hover... Did you catch what it was? Do you even know what I'm talking about?
I don't. What are you referring to?
The roadblock on leg 5 of The Amazing Race, season 27.
Yeah, I'm aware. But
what? What were they in? They had to. It was rise above to spot your next clue.
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
All right. Well, they were in an aerodrome. I will answer the question so we don't make small talk. And what you had to do is you had to spot your next clue, and it was the express pass was used there
Mm-hmm.
by.
Keep going, babe.
The express pass was used, and everybody got through it. And the next clue was to go from Zambia to Zimbabwe. So, continuing on in Africa, there was an overnight catch-up point, which Team Texas had no idea. They thought they were going to use the express pass on the roadblock, zip through a detour, and get to the pit stop, but that wasn't the case. They had an overnight stay in Zimbabwe, so all the teams were going to catch up, and I believe leave in 10 to 15 minute increments. And it just so happened the green team left at the same time as Team Texas. They grabbed the same tag for the 8 a.m. leave time. So a wasted express pass. Completely wasted. Then
I think you're on the wrong episode, babe. I'm trying to be on the same page as you, but I'm pretty sure you're starting the first Africa episode. Because I just watched this episode tonight. That's why I'm confused.
Oh. So I'm on like 4. Anyway, all right. Well, we'll just catch up.
You're looking at me like I'm lost, but you're on the absolute wrong episode.
Anyway, yeah. Well, I guess to finish out that episode,
I will start episode. The correct episode.
Well, it was, but on leg 4 was a to be continued leg. So that leg that I was just recapping, it was to be continued, and which led into the first official leg that we're going to be recapping tonight, leg 5. The second part of To Be Continued.
Called King of the Jungle, the one I was talking about earlier in this podcast.
That's what threw me off, because I don't write down the names of the episodes. I just write down leg 5.
All right. Well, anyways, the cheerleaders arrive last to the continuation. We know what it's like to arrive last at a continuation. It's very scary. And they pretty much, Phil says, you're continue racing, and the first stop is the Zimbabwe.
Zambezi.
It's the Zambezi River.
Oh, I thought you were saying Zimbabwe.
And which I thought was cool about this challenge was it was the first Amazing Race challenge ever. Phil kind of gave that fact when they arrived there. Justin and Diana arrived first. And the question is, who wants to gorge yourself? Who would you think we would have chosen?
I would have thought it would have been a food challenge, so I would have taken it.
You would have taken it, yeah.
Yeah.
They dropped 350 feet, 70 meters. It's a 30-second drop down, which I think I would have died. But honestly, after tonight's drop would have been way more scarier.
I think I would have died.
And I'm surprised nobody was like hyperventilating at like the cliff there. Everyone just did it.
Yeah, they just went in and got out, and that's key with those challenges, because they're not time consuming, but it's just the getting over the fear factor to do the challenge.
What surprised me too is I feel like this episode was it wasn't those tedious tasks. It was more of just like wait in line or fear factor kind of challenges.
Yes.
The episode tonight in Paris was much more of like my favorite kind of Amazing Race task, the tedious stuff. But I felt like this episode didn't take a lot of skill. You just had to arrive there fast and just do it.
Yes. That's what it was. And the paparazzi, my favorite part of the whole episode was them freaking out. The beginning of their freak out. I'm done. We're done. We're out. So
it was kind of one of those things. I think if you do watch The Amazing Race prior to going on the show, you should have taken note that you'd never follow a team. And when they got their clue there, they were so hectic that they decided to follow Shack Attack. And I feel like if they would have just had more experience watching I don't know how much shows they watch, but that's one thing I've noted and we definitely stayed true to when we were on the race, was not to follow other teams, and it ended up kind of biting them in the ass.
Yeah, it did. And they don't deal with pressure very well, is what I've realized. I mean, freaking out on the race is the last thing you want to do, and they're getting to that point. So eventually everybody got through the roadblock, and we go on to the detour, which is crocs or canoes. Crocs, obviously, feed crocodiles. Canoes, you go across the river to get a clue from a vulture's nest. And the only two teams that took the canoe detour were the Green Team and Team Texas, the head-to-head teams. And everybody else took the croc detour. And I don't know, Crocs looked a lot more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Get in, get out. There's more. The track stars switched in the paparazzi. The paparazzi were going to switch.
The track stars didn't switch.
Just paparazzi?
They were going to switch. Paparazzi was going to switch.
And they were.
Because they got there last. And I kind of understand that reasoning. When we were in Peru, do you remember, we were doing the brick challenge, and we knew we were last. And the only thing we could think of was, well, our only shot is to do the other detour because there's no way of making up time. And there's no way we're going to beat those teams. So I kind of think at the time, paparazzi was kind of just scattering. And I think Chris definitely, I think they both freak out, actually.
Well, yeah.
I think they feed off each other's nervousness or whatever. But the green team was the first to cross the Zambezi River, which is also known as the River of Life. Did you notice those hippos and those shots?
Yeah.
Of hippos and alligators? I actually am curious to see if, I want to know if those were actually in the river. Because do you remember when we were in Africa and there was these shots of all these animals that were really kind of there?
No, just stock footage.
Stock footage?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it would be amazing to get that close to a hippo and without it gorging you. Like how he used the gorge?
Yep.
No, she didn't. Anyway, after they got out of the detour, there was the royal treatment, right? Get the royal treatment challenge where they had to walk with lions to get their next clue, which would have been awesome. That would have been the coolest challenge. I mean, it wasn't even a challenge. I guess the challenge was to maybe survive and not get eaten by lions. But they had to find a clue, which would take them to their next pit stop. And Green Team, Alabama, they just Alabama used the express pass, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
They used the express pass at the alligator.
Yeah, the croc detour. And so they were... The Green Team was just so far ahead that they were right there with Team Alabama, who used the express pass. So they got through, and then the other teams had to wait periodically. I don't know if they had two herds going out or what was going on.
I think it had to been two, because we did see another team, I think they could see each other going as they were finishing.
Yep. And then the pit stop was Mausui Private Game Reserve, and you had to carry a fruit basket on your head to the pit stop to fill, and then that looked rough. I mean, you're right there at the finish line. You see Phil, at the pit stop. You see Phil, but you have to do a super, super slow race. And there were other teams on the path at the same time, most of the time. That seems like it'd be a really stressful.
Even for the track, well, we're kind of skipping some stuff. The track stars, first off, my favorite quote actually of this episode is they were arriving to that lion challenge, and they're like, this day has been awesome. And then right then they go to where they're carrying fruit and skip the whole entire lion challenge.
Yeah.
So they had to go back. And I think that they were so scattered by the fact that they messed up there that they didn't read their clue, which is the number one rule of the race. So they had to redo that challenge, which actually put the paparazzi ahead of them.
Yeah.
But I think that walking down the road with fruit on your head would have been like literally the most like I don't know if I have the patience for that.
No, especially I mean if you got out and you were in the lead or whatever, okay, fine. We'll just try to do it. But when there's other teams racing you to the pit stop, that's stressful. But Team Alabama ended up getting to fill first, followed by the green team, Team Texas, and right between the green team and Team Texas is when the track stars. They had their whole scuffle. They showed up at the pit stop for the first time. The reporters at fourth, cheerleaders fifth, paparazzi sixth, which I was surprised at. Check Attack seventh, and the track stars were the eighth team to check in to the pit stop, and they were eliminated from the race. So that was one small mistake cost him the race. So that was the end of the leg number 5 to be continuation. And then we fast forward to leg number 6, which is this week, and they start off in Africa with a roadblock, which was odd to me. I mean, it was right out of the gate, like, boom, you have a roadblock.
Yeah.
And you're still in Africa for this roadblock.
That never happened to us, I don't think.
No, just technically there were challenges in 3 consecutive legs in Africa, which that's a lot of Africa going on. The roadblock, it was a bungee jump, and they had to record their heart rate on their wonderful, wonderful product, Fitbit, and they were told there's going to be a Fitbit challenge coming up soon.
Which we'll probably see next episode.
Yeah. Next episode is just probably going to be just one big math problem, because they were really, really pushing the Fitbit product on this episode.
They had those episodes, and like when we were talking about that earlier, we haven't seen the Ford sponsorship yet.
Yeah.
Which kind of bums me out because they haven't driven at all this season.
No, there's been no self-drive anywhere.
I mean, we literally had to drive the first episode of the race.
Yeah.
To LAX.
Yep. We drove, and then from there we had the second, third, and fourth legs, and then we had to drive right again. And boy, that was not fun.
It makes it a lot harder when you have to drive, so I'd really like to see them start driving.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to soon. But yeah, there's also, I mean, spoiler alert if you watch the episode, but it's another continuation. They're not giving away as much stuff as they usually do.
I feel like they're trying to maybe keep up the ratings or something and add more cliffhangers so everyone has to watch
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they could be doing that, or they're just weaseling their way out of giving away first place prizes. That's what it is.
Travelocity's getting mad.
Travelocity cut them down. Ford cut them down. They're only relying on Fitbit. But yeah, a lot of Fitbit action this episode. Record your heart rate because it's going to be used in an upcoming challenge. And in this one, it was a 360-foot drop.
64.
364, to be exact.
Off the Victoria Falls Bridge.
Yep, and...
No one cried before that either.
No, they got in and they got out.
Tough.
It was just, I mean, they're probably desensitized to it by now. Leg number 5, and they're doing all these crazy things, so they're probably just like...
I definitely think that the challenges are way more like Fear Factor type this season than they ever were last season.
Yeah, we didn't have many things like that.
No.
There's the tightrope walking, which we didn't get to do, and then zip lining.
But there was nothing like that scary. I mean, like,
no.
Like bungee jumping.
That would have been awesome.
And then they got to go on the plane tonight too.
Yeah.
But after they bungee jumped, they had to go. They got to go to Paris, France, which we will actually be going to in a couple months, which I'm very excited about.
Yes.
But on their way to Paris, France, there was an equalizer. I'm pretty sure who got there first.
The green team got, and yeah, they went to the train and they were the first team on, and was it Shack Attack that was right behind them that missed the train by seconds. And
Yeah.
I mean, we know how that goes. We did that on the first leg of the race last season in going to Tokyo, and
The feeling of just seeing the train doors close when you know that it's giving you about a 20, like for us, I think the biggest advantage we got was like 20 minutes advantage. 20 minutes is huge, especially to start off a leg.
yeah, yeah. And
So
the green team's good. I like the green
they're-
team a lot.
they are just rocking it. Like, I always think, okay, there's an equalizer. Maybe we'll see them in the back of the pack, but they just continue to rock it.
Yeah, I mean they're finishing in the top every leg pretty much. I mean, the first leg they had their hiccups, but from everything here on out, they've just been really, really good at the race, and it seems like they're, at least up until the beginning of this episode, like their airport game and their travel game was really good, and just keeping calm they're really good at, and working together. Like
We saw them fight a little bit this episode.
yeah, this was the first episode they showed. Not only did they start bickering back and forth, but they had a little bit of taxi trouble, and they couldn't find the pit stop at first. There was a lot going on with them.
They
It kind
still
of
pulled
showed.
it off.
Yeah,
But
they did, but
even the preview, they were bickering next episode.
yeah, they
I
maybe
think
start to
honestly,
unravel.
like now, about leg 5, leg 6 is when like the exhaustion starts to hit.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, you're kind of okay, you got this, but right around the middle, all the way to the end, like you don't even know what time zone you're in.
It's a crazy, crazy feeling. And then they have to go to an aerodrome for roadblock number 2 of this leg, which the other partner had to do. So if you did roadblock number 1, you couldn't do roadblock number 2. And this one was Who's Feeling Revolutionary, and they had to fly in an old-timey plane from the 40s, I think that. And they had to find, it was a motto. Did you write down who it was the motto for?
It was Liberty. I probably pronounced this wrong, but Agolites and Fraternite.
Yeah. And it was the motto for something I didn't write down, but this looked like a fun roadblock to do, to go up in one of those old-timey planes. And I mean, it's just keep your eye out. This is their second keep your eye out challenge that we've seen so far. As you may know already on this podcast, on leg 4 they started out with one of those. The green team, again, they get in, they get out, they're the first ones, and they head to a taxi, and the taxi says, we can't take you where you need to go. We can take you to Paris to get on we can take you to get on the train, but we can't take you to Paris. So that was I was a little bit worried for them right there. I didn't know what was going to happen, because a taxi driver can kill your race pretty quickly, as we know. But, all the teams except Logan and Chris went in and went out on their first try on this detour. Logan didn't get the first set of clues. She didn't get the last word. And she didn't see it at all. So they had to wait. She tried again, and she ended up getting the second time, putting them at the back of the pack.
An hour behind.
Yes.
They missed the train that everyone got on, and she was an hour. It made him an hour behind.
Yeah.
Which is a big gap.
That's a huge gap on the race.
Yeah.
So they head to Square Louis Michael, I
Where they
believe.
had to find the white phantom.
Yeah, it looked a lot like Austin from Big Brother 17 with his top hat and his beard and his hair.
It's one of those things where they're just kind of running around and didn't realize it was right in front of them the whole entire time.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we had to visualize people, usually the race, you see the red and yellow. If you see red and yellow everywhere, that's where you know where you're going. And this guy was he was the white ghost or whatever. And I'd have probably passed him up and just said this is just some random weirdo here in Paris. But the green team, they went right to him. A lot of the teams after that had trouble, and they're like, "Where's this guy at?" They're running up, they're running down, and eventually they found him. They got to him, and they got their clue for the detour. One half was drop Mike,
And the other was seafood platter.
Yep. And
Bust a crab.
Bust a crab.
Bust a crab.
Or drop a mic.
I wrote seafood platter, but that was...
Yeah, on Drop the Mic, they had to do a French rap. which was very reminiscent of our love song in Munich. And bust a crab, they had to make a seafood platter, as you said, with oysters, crabs, lobster.
It was a very detail-oriented um, task, and of course, Team Shack Attack killed it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Anything that's detailed, they had that meat challenge that was all about the details.
Yeah,
Just as a surgeon, he like has such an advantage. And the one that really rocked the dropped mic, it was the cheerleaders tonight.
they did really
They
good.
killed it.
Um, which one would you have wanted to do?
Probably the seafood platter.
Oh,
My memory is not so good.
that would have been a very hard one to take for me.
I can't even remember your birthday, so.
No, you can't. But what? Well. If the clues are, I mean, we don't know. I don't know because we had those blind detours as we've talked about before. If you see a envelope that says "drop a mic" or "bust a crab," would you, being a vegetarian, are you going to bust a crab, thinking you're going to eat seafood?
Probably because a microphone, I would want nothing to do with a microphone.
Wow, that's a pretty bold move. Anyway, green team cheerleaders, reporters started out doing the rap and got in, got out. A couple, I think the reporters had a couple tries, 8 tries, I think. Cheerleaders zipped right through it, and the green team had a couple tries. Diana was struggling a little bit, and Justin's just like, come on, just do it. You can do it, Diana. And they did it. On the other side, Team Texas, Shack Attack, Paparazzi, and Alabama was going to go to that detour, but they got lost.
You got lost.
And that really, really cost them because Logan and Chris come zipping through, and they get to the seafood challenge, and Team Alabama decided to switch because they couldn't find I know it wasn't a crab shack, but the restaurant. And that really, really cost them in the long run because
I think the seafood platter would be something that would have been easier for them.
Yeah, oh, for sure. The Paparazzi and Team Texas had to redo both of their platters. Minor mistakes on both ends. I think Team Texas was just like a lemon. Was one wrong lemon. So everybody gets in and out of their detours except for Team Alabama.
And you know what I noticed about Team Alabama is they weren't writing down like the pronunciations like we saw the other teams. They were just kind of trying to memorize it.
Yeah.
And if you're watching all the other teams that were able to get it, they were actually writing down, how like little notes on how to pronounce.
Yeah, like an Americanized version of the French language, and that was really helpful.
I think that would have helped.
Oh, for sure. And when everybody got done with their detour, they received a postcard which sent them to a clue box, which sent them to the pit stop. So just another added. This is a jam-packed leg.
This is a long leg.
Yeah, 2 roadblocks, a detour, a clue box, and a pit stop.
They're still racing.
Yeah, and there's to continue. It seems like a long, long day. But it was early in the morning though, because when Logan and Chris were at the train station, they said their train left an hour later at 11. So it was they had already done 2 roadblocks and gotten out of the way by 10 o'clock in the morning or something. I don't know.
And a lot of times with the keep racing, you keep racing. I think we kept racing in Peru when we were 4th place going into the finale. And I mean, you're not just right ahead, like just going. I think we were the last to arrive. I'm sure the other teams got maybe a couple hours in a hotel room, got to shower and stuff. We got, I think, about 10 minutes to wash off like the ocean water.
Yeah.
In that day, and then literally had to run out of the hotel, and then we spent the night in the airport.
Yeah, well, the race, the people putting it together, they know that they're going to catch up in the airport anyway. So if they get an hour or two break, it's not going to kill anybody's race.
The nice thing about keep racing though is you can do what you want still. Like when you're at the pit stops, you're there for a day or two, like stuck in a hotel room.
Yeah.
So when you get those continuation legs, it is kind of nice because you can still kind of do whatever you want,
Yeah. Yeah, I can't complain.
Mm-hmm.
Pit stop was Arc de Triomphe, which was
We will have to go visit when we're in Paris.
Yeah, I think there was the other. I mean, I obviously know the Eiffel Tower, but there was that other. I know they have one other big monument, and I believe that was it. So, the race answered my question I had for you earlier today off the air, on the air. So, the green team. Well, I mean, this was a little bit of a tricky read your clue type pit stop because it said Phil was across from that arc.
That was another one of those read your clues or you're screwed.
Yeah, because you would think head to the arc and Phil's going to be there, but no. So eventually they showed the green team struggling, bickering back and forth, and kind of scrambling around. Where's Phil? Oh God, where's Phil?
Mm-hmm.
But didn't matter because they ended up getting first in this leg,
and they didn't win a prize, like you said.
Yeah, they didn't.
That sucks, kind of.
Did they? Let me look back in my notes. Did they get first in the other to be continued?
Yes.
Did they?
Because Team Texas was right behind them. And remember, they didn't U-turn Team Texas. It was the Africa leg.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
They've had a lot of to be continued, like right back to back.
Yeah. Well, Justin and Diana, I'm sorry you guys haven't won anything yet. Hopefully you win the race.
They won a trip already.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if they won a trip, then they've checked in first place 3 times.
Yep. Yeah.
And two of the time, I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like the to be continueds because of that. That's one of the perks of the race.
But do you think though this to be continued is a guaranteed non-elimination? I
don't know. That's a tricky one.
Because I'm trying to think. I don't think I have seen it to be continued that they don't. I could be wrong, but that they don't eliminate someone.
I'm not sure.
Or that they eliminate someone on.
That would be interesting.
I think if I remember. I don't.
No? Check the memory bank. Cheerleaders checked in second, reporters third, Team Texas fourth. They're dropping a little bit, which was shocking to see, but that was, I guess, that side of the detour. That one little lemon cost them a couple places. Chack Attack fifth, the Paparazzi sixth, and the big cliffhanger here. Who's going to be last? Well, spoiler alert for next week. Team Alabama's checking in last at the pit stop. I don't know why that was their big teaser. Maybe
it's to make us think. Are they going to be eliminated?
The first time I thought of that was when you brought up the point. I didn't even mention because you'd figure they're going to say, something build that up. Like, are they going to be eliminated or not? But they just they left it there where, hey, Alabama's going to check in last.
Did we see Paparazzi check in, though? I don't remember them.
Yeah, they did it very quick. They had, I think there were 2 times where they just showed back-to-back, like, hey, you're the 4th team, you're the 5th team. Whatever.
That happened really fast.
Yeah, that was, as I was writing them down, that's how quick it was. I had to remember the next team. But Alabama's checking in 7th on the to-be-continued leg. But are they going to be to-be continued, as Rochelle just asked?
And they go to the Netherlands next.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I looked it up.
Okay. Because they teased it in the preview. They're like, Amsterdam?
But it's not Amsterdam. It's something Dam, but it's in the Netherlands.
Nottingham?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he's like, Amsterdam, Nottingham, Germany? But
yeah.
So that's what's happening next week on leg number 7 of the Amazing Race, and we will be back here at 10:30 p.m. We're gonna try and make time next week. We won't be 15 minutes late. So subscribe to On the Block Pod right here on YouTube. Follow them on Twitter and on the Block Pod as well. You can watch Spencer and McRae's on the Block Pod, if I haven't said it enough, and Max Dawson's Survivor with All the Fixins, covering Survivor Second Chance, or Survivor 31, whatever they're calling it. Rochelle, do you have any closing statements?
No, hopefully next podcast we can get the right episode when we start.
Well, I'm gonna have to I'm making my notes are gonna be redone to where the first thing I put is a big bold leg number for the podcast, so I just don't.
It's Rotterdam. Thank you, Mike. You can.
Oh, thanks.
Rotterdam.
Rotterdam, Nottingham.
Thank you guys for chatting with us too. It makes it a lot of fun, and we get corrected.
Yeah, I mean that's what we need, because I'm gonna tell you is like I don't really pay attention. so anything you guys do to help out, we really appreciate. So
right.
Yeah, so definitely subscribe down the Block Network. Follow us both on Twitter. Rochelle's handle's underneath her at Rochelle DeVille. Mine's above me at Mikey0. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Team Truck Stop Love. And we're still trying to get 1,000 likes so we can release our
That's pretty
audition.
sad lately. Also, we're raising money for breast cancer. We're trying to get to Reality Rally in April. Which is a really awesome reality event where we raise money for this awesome place called Michelle's Place.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Oh, I was just going to say you can go to realityrally.com.
And click on our profiles. And even if you donate $1, it will help us get there and do something for this great cause.
Yeah, and we'll take awesome pictures and videos and maybe do a live podcast from there.
We were actually talking about that. It'd be cool to see if, I think like some of the old racers, I know the Afghanimals like go to a lot of those events, and we're gonna have, I know a couple of our racers from our season are gonna be there. It'd be kind of cool to do maybe some live podcasts there.
Yeah.
So help us out, help raise money for a great cause, and yeah.
Yeah, and everybody...
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, have a happy Halloween. I'm going to try and convince Rochelle to watch Halloween with me.
Right now.
All right, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will see you next week. Goodbye.